Hi, friends. It's Leah Carey from the Good Girls Talk About Sex podcast, and we're back with another COVID Confidential behind closed doors. Before we start, I want to remind you that if this quarantine is exacerbating issues in your relationship with touch or communication or sex, or if you're solo and experiencing issues around touch hunger, I'm here to listen. There's information about my quarantine coaching package at the end of this video. Now, today we're going to meet Katrina. She is sheltering solo, but she has a pandemic buddy, and it's a really interesting setup. She and I are also going to talk about negative body image issues like don't gain the quarantine 15 and how destructive that is. Let's get started.
So I actually live in a studio apartment by myself. And so while I'm blessed and it's a nice open space, it's definitely four walls are not enough walls. um, I'm really lucky though. One of my best friends lives about a block away and we're both like single females. So we agreed early on to be like quarantine pals. And I have asthma and I have some family members who are immunocompromised. So I don't feel comfortable going to stores. And she's been able to go to like the store for me. And
That's great.
kind of pooling resources has been a huge help. Yeah.
So when you say buddies, does that include going into each other's homes or just taking groceries up to the door and leaving them for you?
No, we like co-quarantine. So she'll stay here occasionally. I'm a therapist and I work from home. So neither of us could be at each other's place full time, which was the first instinct as she has a bigger apartment. I was like, maybe I'll just come live with you. It was like, no, we can't keep HIPAA compliance.
Oh, sure.
So we are staying at each other's houses. And part of that's because both of us have immunocompromised parents, and being able to ensure that our pod is quarantining makes it a lot easier when we do have to drop off groceries for parents.
Mm-hmm. And so are the two of you platonic friends? Are you romantic or sexual friends?
So I did like the lesbian stereotype, and it's my ex who's also one of my best friends. Oops.
So really what I want to know is, are you getting touch out of this relationship?
Yeah, platonic touch. So we're not one of those like friend ex situations where we're still hooking up and pretending like, oh no, it's fine. But it's definitely nice to have. The other day I had like a really, really heavy day. Like everybody's struggling and I love my job, but carrying weight for people when they're struggling takes a toll. And I just texted, I was like, hey, can you bring me some cough drops? And also I need a hug. And that was just a really nice thing that I know a lot of people don't have right now. So
Yeah. Do you feel like your touch needs are being met?
oh, heck no. I'm
Yeah.
a very touch focused person. And I'm also like a very partnered sexual person. So I've been sharing a lot of memes about like, it's masturbation month, get after it. But that is not a primary mode of like sexual touch or sexual healing for me. So I'm like, oh, I just really miss hugs. I really miss contact.
So have you developed any strategies over the last couple of months to, I know that you can't fill that well because you don't have the means to do that, but have you developed any strategies to sort of help you get through this time?
I'm on all of the swiping dating sites, even though they're hyper saturated and not very satisfying, just because meeting new people is a huge need for me. And I was seeing somebody at like the beginning of quarantine and it just didn't pan out. Regular things, we have different life interests, but we did like a grocery drop off and made dinner together on Skype. So I'm finding ways to get very creative. But
Yeah.
when it comes to like just touch, I'm grateful that I have pets. I've got a real big fluffy dog who sleeps with me every night and keeps me company.
Good. So let's talk a little bit about your relationship with food and your relationship with your body during this time.
Mhm.
Have your habits with food changed during this quarantine? And has your relationship with food changed at all?
I loved, loved, loved as I was watching the other videos you posted this question, because I do work a lot with people with eating disorders, and am a like survivor of disordered eating, and this time is really challenging. People who don't necessarily think about food are now having to. I'm grateful that I am set on intuitive eating, so I don't deny myself. There's a lot of jokes around like, "Oh, I'm just snacking." Well, if you're hungry, then you snack. If you're stressed and your body's in a panic or like a pandemic response, then you're going to eat because your body thinks we got to store up for a famine. Um, so that on that side, it's been really great to already have that foundation where I know how to listen to my body's hunger cues and satiation cues. So today for breakfast, I had some dried mangoes and a donut and like pepperoni sticks, which is not a traditional breakfast, but still pretty good. The body image, I teach yoga and fitness, and it's been really interesting to watch how that landscape is changing with this. There's a lot of negative messaging coming through, like lose weight during quarantine and don't gain this quarantine 15, and it's all very toxic. So
Yeah.
I have found I hate working out at home. Like I just hate it. So as bosses are like, hey, can you do a video? Can you do a workout class from home? I'm like, I really don't want to. I will, I really just really don't want to. And finding joy in movement has been one of the biggest blessings. And I hate to say that, but of my quarantine is like I have to walk the dog. I have to get out of the house.
Mhm.
I was like, okay, I'll ride my bike again. I haven't done that in a couple years. Um, but that has been my, I guess, silver lining of quarantine. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm coming back to what my body wants. And I had a
Mhm.
moment last week where I teach at several gyms, and I can work out there for free, which is huge. Um, Gyms are not cheap, but I never do. And I realized I was like, oh, because when I'm there for work, there's so much pressure to look like my coworkers and sell the diet culture model and sell this thing that I'm not. And now that I'm home alone, I'm like, well, I did like a 2 hour long yoga practice the other day just because I could.
Hmm.
Like, oh, when there's not pressure to perform, I genuinely enjoy this.
Yeah. Oh,
Hmm.
that's fascinating.
Yeah.
And so, getting more in touch with your body again in a new and different way. How are you experiencing your sex drive during this time?
It's so funny because as all of this started, I definitely felt this kind of cycle of scarcity or panic, and my body shut down my libido entirely, which
Hmm.
makes sense, like neurologically and physiologically. But I was like, oh, sex is the last thing on my mind. And as I kind of settled into, okay, it's going to be longer than the 3 weeks that my state originally guessed. All right, like I found my new normal again, and I felt my libido come back and desire come back. And that's been really lovely to just have something normal. Like
Yeah.
this is, and it's a coming back to my body and an embodiment experience that is key to my own personal sexual life and expression. It was so lovely to have this moment of, oh yeah, like she's still here. This sexual version of Katrina's still here. She just
Uh-huh.
took a break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Katrina, thank you so much for having this conversation with me. It's
Of
been a real
course.
pleasure to talk to you.
I love it, and I'm so glad that you're posting these videos so I can share them with people who are struggling maybe with their sexuality during this time.
Thank you.
If this video has been helpful for you, hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment about how you're handling the quarantine. And if you're struggling with this lockdown, I want you to know that I'm here to listen. Go to the link on the screen to get information about my quarantine coaching special. Stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you again soon.